Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive where well, we love to unpack these complex topics.
Yeah,
And today,
definitely.
we're taking a deep dive into a story about healing.
Okay,
A pretty fascinating one, I think.
that's good.
We've got these insights directly from a nurse
Okay.
who reversed her Sjogren syndrome.
Wow.
Now, what makes this so intriguing is that she's not just anyone in the medical field.
Right.
She sees firsthand the limitations of these traditional
Yeah.
treatments.
Yeah, what's fascinating here is her perspective.
Yes.
She's a nurse
Yeah.
who's been dealing with Sjogren syndrome
Ah.
for 2.5 years,
Yeah.
experiencing all the classic symptoms,
Yeah.
dry eyes,
Oh, yeah.
dry mouth,
I've heard of that.
fatigue, and the
Yeah.
joint pain.
And, having that medical background,
Hmm.
she's fully aware of the conventional treatments.
Yeah.
She could have easily gone the route of steroids or
Mhm.
hydroxychloroquine,
Right.
but she was hesitant.
She actually mentions in the video that she was very concerned about the long-term effects
Yeah.
of those medications,
Mm-hmm.
particularly on the liver and kidneys.
Oh, wow.
She had seen the potential damage firsthand, and it made her really wary.
So it was more than just a theoretical concern for her.
Yeah.
This was deeply personal.
Yeah.
She even shares how her memory problems started to worry her husband.
Oh, wow.
And she had this fear that her condition could worsen to the point where she wouldn't even recognize her own children in the future.
It's a heartbreaking thought.
Yeah,
And it really underscores the urgency she felt to find a different solution.
for sure.
She was determined to explore other options, something beyond just managing symptoms.
Yeah, and that's when she stumbles upon this program
Okay.
created by Viktoriya and Oksana
Mm-hmm.
online.
Online, okay.
What initially drew her to their approach was this focus on addressing autoimmune issues at the cellular level.
And that's a key point here.
Yeah.
We often think of autoimmune diseases as these large-scale attacks on the body. Mm-hmm.
But it really all boils down to what's happening at the cellular level.
So could you break that down for us?
Sure.
Why is cellular health so crucial when it comes to autoimmunity?
Well, think of each cell in your body as a tiny self-contained unit with a membrane acting as a gatekeeper.
Okay.
This membrane controls what nutrients enter the cell and what waste products leave.
Okay.
Now, when this membrane is damaged, it can trigger an immune response.
So the body starts attacking its own cells because it senses something's wrong.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's like the immune system is on high alert, mistaking these damaged cells for invaders.
Got it.
And that's essentially what happens in autoimmune diseases.
So Viktoriya and Oksana's program is focused on repairing that damage and restoring balance at the cellular level.
That seems to be the core of their approach.
Okay.
And the nurse in this video really emphasizes how different this is from anything she'd encountered before.
Okay, so she's intrigued by this new approach.
Yeah.
But there's a hurdle she has to overcome.
The program requires a significant investment, and her husband is hesitant.
Oh, wow.
Can you relate to that?
I can imagine.
Weighing the potential benefits of an alternative treatment against the financial commitment,
Yeah.
especially when you're already dealing with a chronic illness.
Right.
It's a tough decision.
It is. And in this case, the nurse really had to advocate for herself.
Yep.
She had to convince her husband that this program was worth the risk.
And she really believed that Viktoriya and Oksana held the key to her healing.
From what she shares in the video, it sounds like she had done quite a bit of research on her own.
Yeah.
She was very intentional about choosing them.
She actually mentions that she was drawn to their holistic perspective,
Okay.
the way they addressed not just the physical symptoms, but also the emotional and mental aspects of healing.
That's interesting. And it suggests they're taking a more integrated approach, recognizing that true healing involves addressing the whole person.
She also talks about how Viktoriya and Oksana create a very supportive and personalized experience for their clients. It's not a one-size-fits-all program.
That level of individualized attention can be incredibly valuable, especially when you're dealing with a complex condition like Sjogren's.
Yeah.
It's not just about following a set protocol.
Mm-hmm.
It's about understanding your unique needs and tailoring the approach accordingly.
She even highlights that they provided ongoing support and guidance,
Oh.
answering her questions and addressing her concerns throughout the entire process.
It sounds like they created a strong sense of trust and partnership with their clients, which is so important in any healing journey.
Okay, so she takes the leap.
Yeah.
She invests in the program.
Mm-hmm.
And then, get this, in just 31 days, she experiences a complete reversal of her Sjogren symptoms.
31 days.
Yeah,
That's an incredibly rapid turnaround.
it is.
It makes you wonder what factors could have contributed to such fast results.
Yeah, that's remarkable, and it raises so many questions.
Sure.
Let's dive into those right after we take a moment to hear from our sponsor.
Sounds good. Yeah, a 31-day turnaround for a chronic condition.
I know, it's crazy.
Like, Sjogren's is definitely on the faster end of the spectrum.
For sure.
It's really fascinating.
Yeah.
What's fascinating here is that there are a few things that might have contributed to these results.
Okay, so break it down for us.
Sure.
What could have played a role here?
Well, the nurse was clearly motivated
Yeah.
and committed to the program.
Hmm.
That dedication can make a huge difference.
It's like she had that fire in her belly.
Right.
She knew this was her chance to reclaim her health.
Exactly. And remember, she was already pretty health conscious before starting the program.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
She mentions that she was eating a clean diet.
Right.
So she had a good foundation.
So it wasn't a complete lifestyle overhaul for her?
Right. And let's not forget, the program seems to be very personalized.
Yeah.
Viktoriya and Oksana tailor their guidance to each individual's needs and circumstances.
That makes sense. Everyone's body is different. Everyone's health journey is unique.
And what's interesting is that the nurse specifically points out that Viktoriya and Oksana took the time to
Understand her specific symptoms, her lifestyle, and even her emotional state to create a plan that was just for her.
So it wasn't just following a generic protocol. It
Yeah.
was a truly customized approach.
And this is where the focus on cellular health becomes really relevant.
Okay.
By addressing the root cause of the autoimmune issue at the cellular level. They're not just masking symptoms.
It's like they're getting to the heart of the matter rather than just putting a Band-Aid on it.
Precisely. And the nurse talks about how Viktoriya and Oksana helped her understand the science
Yeah.
behind it all, like how inflammation and toxins can disrupt cellular function.
So it's not just about following instructions blindly. She's actually learning about her body
Right.
and how to support its natural healing process.
It seems like they empowered her with knowledge, which can make a huge difference in someone's
Yeah,
healing journey.
absolutely.
She also mentions that they helped her identify specific triggers in her environment and diet that were
Oh, interesting.
exacerbating her symptoms.
Wow. This is a crucial point.
Yeah,
It's not just about what you do, it's also about understanding what to avoid.
for sure.
And the nurse seems to have really embraced this holistic perspective. She talks about how the program helped her address not only her physical health, but also her emotional well-being.
That's so important. We often underestimate the impact of stress and emotions on our physical health.
She even credits Viktoriya and Oksana with helping her manage her stress levels and develop a more positive outlook, which probably contributed to her overall healing.
Absolutely. The mind-body connection is so powerful. When you feel good emotionally and mentally, it can have a profound impact on your physical health.
But let's be real, there's always a bit of skepticism when it comes to anything that sounds like a quick fix.
Oh, totally.
Of course. But what's remarkable here is that the nurse was initially skeptical too.
Yeah.
She's a nurse, she's seen it all.
Right. She wasn't easily swayed by hype or promises.
Yep. And she even mentions that she had tried other natural healing approaches before with limited success.
So what was it about Viktoriya and Oksana that made her believe this time would be different?
Well, she talks about how their program was backed by solid scientific research and how they presented the information in a way that was clear and understandable even to someone with a medical background like herself.
So it wasn't just some mystical woo-woo stuff. It was rooted in real science.
Right. And she also emphasizes that Viktoriya and Oksana were incredibly transparent about their methods and the potential outcome.
They weren't making any unrealistic promises or guaranteeing instant results.
Exactly. They were upfront about the challenges and the commitment involved, which probably helped build trust with the nurse.
For sure.
And what's even more impressive is that the nurse is now so passionate about this approach that she's actively recommending it to her own patients.
That speaks volumes about her confidence in Viktoriya and Oksana's program.
Right.
She's seen the transformative results firsthand, and now she wants to share that with others.
It's like she's become a bit of an evangelist for this new way of thinking about health and healing.
And her enthusiasm is contagious.
Yeah.
I'm sure her patients are picking up on that.
But let's not forget, this is just one person's experience.
Right.
It's anecdotal evidence.
You're absolutely right. It's important to keep that in mind. We can't extrapolate from a single case.
So while her story is incredibly inspiring and gives us hope, it doesn't necessarily mean that everyone who tries Viktoriya and Oksana's program will have the same results.
Of course, individual responses to treatment can vary widely. There's so many factors at play.
But I think what's valuable here is that her story opens up possibilities.
Yeah.
It challenges the notion that
Yeah.
chronic conditions like Sjogren's are just something you have to live with.
And it encourages us to explore different approaches, even those that might seem unconventional.
It's about being proactive, taking ownership of your health, and seeking out solutions that resonate with you
Yeah,
personally.
for sure.
And it's about being open to the idea that healing can happen sometimes in ways we least expect.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the nurse's journey and her remarkable result, but I'm curious to learn more about the specifics of Viktoriya and Oksana's program. What exactly are they doing that's so different from conventional treatments?
That's a great question. And while the nurse doesn't go into a ton of detail in the video, she does mention a few key elements.
Well, let's unpack those right after a quick word from our sponsor.
Okay, we're back and ready to kind of like get into the nitty-gritty here.
Yeah.
The specifics of Viktoriya and Oksana's program.
Okay.
The nurse we've been talking about didn't give us all the specifics,
Yeah.
but she did highlight some key elements that stood out to her.
Right.
From what she shared, their approach goes beyond just treating the symptoms of Sjogren's syndrome.
Okay.
They seem to address the root causes,
Yeah.
which is something we don't often see in conventional medicine.
No, not really. So they're not just trying to mask the dry eyes and fatigue.
Exactly.
They're looking for the underlying reasons why those symptoms are occurring in the first place.
Exactly. And one of the things that the nurse mentions is their emphasis on gut health.
Now, why would gut health be so important for someone with Sjogren's?
Well, research is increasingly showing that gut health plays a significant role in autoimmune diseases.
Okay.
When the gut microbiome is imbalanced,
Yeah.
it can actually trigger inflammation throughout the body.
So if you have an overgrowth of harmful bacteria in your gut, it could be contributing to the immune system attacking your own tissues.
That's the idea. And the nurse mentions that Viktoriya and Oksana helped her identify specific foods that were irritating her gut and contributing to her symptoms.
So it's not just about adding probiotics or eating more fiber.
It's about personalizing the diet to address individual sensitivities.
She also talks about how they incorporated stress management techniques into the program.
That's a crucial aspect. That's often overlooked in conventional medicine.
For sure.
We know that stress can exacerbate autoimmune conditions.
For sure.
But we don't always have effective strategies for managing it.
Right. And the nurse mentions that they taught her specific breathing exercises and mindfulness practices that helped her reduce her stress levels significantly.
Those tools can be incredibly empowering. Because they give people a sense of control over their health.
For sure.
It's not just about relying on medications or external interventions. It's about finally addressing her Sjogren's from all angles.
It wasn't just about targeting one specific symptom. It was about restoring balance to her entire system.
And that's what makes her story so compelling.
It really is.
It offers a glimpse into a different way of thinking about health and healing.
Yeah.
One that goes beyond the limitations of conventional medicine.
So what can our listeners take away from this deep dive into the nurse's experience?
I think her story encourages us to be open to exploring alternative approaches to healing. Even those that might seem unconventional.
Totally. It's about being proactive and taking ownership of your health journey.
And it's about remembering that there's always hope, even when faced with a chronic condition. Like Sjogren's syndrome.
We hope this deep dive has provided you with some valuable insights. And perhaps even sparked a sense of curiosity.
Definitely.
To learn more about the power of healing at the cellular level.
Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and never stop seeking answers that resonate with you personally.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.